time for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques here at the
Yes,
CCA
that's what it is.
Workbench.
Yes, sir.
Dave, this is one of the shows you really love. So let's talk about
Well, I
cobias.
kind of grew up in the Destin area up there where Pat lives. I moved in there. My dad's in the service, and that's a big service area, so that's where I wound up. And some of the first fishing I got to do was go and that's how I actually met Pat Deneen, was cobia fishing for a TV show.
Cool.
So, I got to do a little bit of it, and I've been humbled by him. We talked a little about how cobia they're omnivores. They like to eat a lot of different things. They eat crabs. They're called a crab eater, and little fish, the crustaceans, shrimp. They'll eat just about anything. But at the same time, sometimes they can be kind of picky.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw 9 things at them and they won't eat. I remember one day in particular, I had like 9 fish up following stuff behind the boat, and they wouldn't eat anything. And a good thing to, a good way to chase cobia when you're targeting them is to have a lot of different baits, just for that reason. And a live eel is probably your best bait. A live mullet is right there with a live eel, and then you've got all your little fishes, pinfish.
My favorite's a lizard fish.
A lizard fish, I guess, would be good. A ladyfish, even a small one.
Mm-hmm.
They like fish, and squid too. So the first thing you'll do is you'll see the fish, you'll get up in front of him, and you'll throw that live eel. If he doesn't eat that eel, then you throw a live mullet. If he doesn't eat the mullet, then you try the jig. If he doesn't eat the jig, then you put some squid on the jig and try that. And you just keep going and going until finally you hope he eats something. Now you can see these jigs are all pretty colorful. A lot of people like chartreuse, but white works. Anytime you put a little tail on them, that helps too. Any kind of wiggle on the tail works. But they can be from 3 ounces all the way up to 8 ounces. But some of them you want not to have much weight at all, because a lot of times when you're out there fishing on the bottom, a cobia is a bottom-oriented fish. He'll be around structure, a wreck or a reef or something, just like a grouper or a snapper will be, except they're more solitary. But so when you pull up on one of those reefs, a lot of times if you're down there fishing for snapper, here comes the cobia will come up around the boat. So everybody in Florida should have a nice 7-foot spinning rod with some 30, 40-pound braid on it, and some 50 to 60-pound fluorocarbon leader and a jig on it. Because you never know when that cobia is, because they're very curious. Their only other relative close to a cobia is a remora, and they both exhibit the same type of behavior. They like to be around big things in the water. A whale, a bull shark, a manta ray, all of these big animals. The cobia likes to hang with them and scavenge off whatever the whale's eating or whatever the ray gets over the top of and spooks, and that's what those cobia are doing. And they follow bull sharks, big bull sharks around, especially in South Florida. You see a big bull shark or any
What's
big
the
shark.
typical leader that you like to use, whether you're live bait fishing to start with, Dave?
50 pound. You start with 50. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of teeth. They have little tiny teeth in their mouth.
Yeah.
So and what you have to worry about though is the length of the fight. It's not the teeth that's gonna cut the leader, but if it's a long fight, you might be able to wear through it, because they do have a lot of very small villiform teeth, I think is what they're called. Little tiny teeth that, it's like sandpaper.
Sandpaper, just rub it.
Because they grab things and they swallow it whole. They crush things and then they swallow it whole. So you want to have something that will withstand a good long fight, because they are very powerful fish. I don't know, maybe that's why they taste so good. Those really strong fish like swordfish and cobias with that white meat is really good.
Any tricks when they get close to the boat, whether you're using a net or a gaff? What kind of advice would you have to our viewers?
Well, the cobia is known for going crazy when you get him on the gaff. So, make sure that you've whipped the fish pretty good before you stick a gaff in him, for 2 reasons. One, when you have the fish controlled on the side of the boat, it's a lot easier to get a proper gaff in him. Instead of making that wild flailing gaff and getting him in the belly or in the tail, where he can come off. And they do that a lot. They'll come off because they go crazy when you hit them with it. They're much like a dolphin fish.
Right.
They're one of the ones that can hurt you. And when they come off the gaff in the boat, you can just get away from it, because he will tear the back of the boat to pieces. Yeah. So I always make sure that I have a box that's open, and we know where that fish is going to go before the gaff even comes out. And then we tell everybody, the box is open. You know, because we don't want anybody falling in the box, and that happens quite a bit.
Fall in the box and the cobia on top of you.
I've done that. I've done that with. I had a big dolphin do that with me one time, and it's no fun laying in the box with a big fish bouncing on your chest with hooks and stuff flying around everywhere. So what you want to do is you want to hit that fish, take him and put him straight away in the box, and close the lid. And have somebody big sit on it because he's going to go crazy, and you want him to be under control before you put a gaff in him.
Is a cobia ever under control?
Well, you know, if you take your time and don't get, you know, a lot of people just get in a big hurry because it's a cobia and we want to eat him.
Yes.
But that's how they get lost.
Never under control.
There you go, Brie.
Just like Captain Rick Murphy, never under control.